Hello, could you please introduce yourself and tell us something about how you got interested in the field and where your career path went?
Okay, my name is Robert Harrell. I was raised on a farm in southwest Georgia, and I'm a first-generation college student. And I became interested in the field, I think, because I always had an interest in art. I'm more of a visual person, and that always interested me. What actually happened was I went to college to study, to become a school teacher, to study, get a degree in speech and drama. I got that degree, but as I was getting closer to achieving that degree, I realized there were no teaching jobs in speech and drama. Well, luckily, as it happened, the teacher that taught the utilization of media course in preparing me for student teaching was Dr. Walter Brown, a graduate of Indiana University, and I really enjoyed that course a lot, and the methods and the materials we were using. And toward the end of the school year, he approached me and said, "Robert, I'm looking for a graduate student for next year. Would you be interested?" And I said, "Well, this sounds like it's promising." And that's how I actually got into the field and went on and did my master's work with Dr. Brown at Georgia Southern University.
Excellent. And then where did you go from there?
From achieving my master's degree there, I applied for a job at Clayton Junior College in Morrow, Georgia. Clayton Junior College has gone through its growth also, and I was there when it was Clayton State College, and now it's Clayton State University. And the thing that attracted me to that particular job in educational media management was the fact that they had a spectacular new, for that time, 1975, they had a very nice learning resources center, and they really focused on using audiovisual media in the curriculum there.
Oh, that's excellent. And then how long were you there?
I was at Clayton State for 13 years, from 1975 to 1988. And in 1988, a good professional friend who I had met through the state organization recruited me to come next door to DeKalb College. DeKalb College is now known as Georgia Perimeter College in metropolitan Atlanta, and it spreads over some 5 or 6 different campuses. And so I left Clayton State and went to work at DeKalb College as Director of Media Services. And I was there until my retirement in July of 2003. So while I was there, I was Director of Media Services for this multi-campus college, a 2-year college, and along the way I became Acting Dean for Learning Resources. We had a new president come in and totally shake the administration up. Ironically, it was when we were at an ACT convention and I was preparing to do my little president-elect campaign speech at the membership meeting. The telephone rang in my room, and it was my boss calling to say, "Robert, I have news for you. You are now the Acting Dean for Learning Resources." And I said, "Well, you know, this is quite a shock, quite a surprise." But I fulfilled that role during the transition, during the reorganization. It was quite a learning experience, but it was a little bit more administrative duty than I cared to deal with. So after that phase of my career, I petitioned the Vice President for Academic Affairs to let me get back into the media area, and I became Director of Distance Learning from that point on until I retired. Great. So that was another wonderful, challenging experience.
So who are some of the people in the field who have had an impact on you and the way you think about the field and also the way that you have pursued different areas of the field?
Right. Well, first and foremost, I think it was Dr. Walter Brown in my college days, undergraduate and graduate, who made a concerted effort to always tell his graduating classes, you need to get professionally involved. And he pointed out 2 or 3 organizations. He pointed us toward the state organization, and he also was proud to point us toward AECT. So that's the way I first got involved in this organization. And it was sort of a roller coaster ride. I became state president of the Georgia Association for Instructional Technology. Back then, you know, the structure and organization of AECT was that we had many state affiliates and regional affiliates, in addition to our divisions in the International Association. And in addition, we had state affiliates and regional affiliates, and I became involved in those. And in my regional affiliate, it was the Southeastern Regional Media Leadership Council, and the state affiliate was the Georgia Association for Instructional Technology. And I'm sorry, I forget, what's the question?
Well, then people that have impacted you, and so you started talking about people within
So
Dr. Brown.
So Dr. Brown was very instrumental in getting me interested in joining and participating professionally in professional organizations. And then along my way, when the AECT convention was scheduled to come to Atlanta, Georgia in 1986, I think it was, I was serving as president of the Georgia affiliate in 1985, and somehow or other I was tapped to be the chair of the local host committees for AECT. And during that experience, I had the privilege of working with Dr. Stanley Huffman from Virginia Tech. And he was the convention chair of that convention, so I got to know him and work with him closely. And he was a wonderful mentor.
That's wonderful. Anyone else at AECT along the way?
Those are the two. That's the
two main ones.
That's the two main ones. Yes.
Okay, excellent. And how would you like to be remembered in the profession?
Well, I suppose I would just like to be remembered as someone who cared a lot about the profession, cared a lot and dearly loved the association, and always just gave my best to do whatever I could to participate and be a good leader.
Well, I think that's the way people think of you now, yes.
Thank you.
And then any favorite AECT memories that you would like to share? Any stories you'd like to leave with us?
Oh, there are too many. How much time?
How much time do we have? Good. We have plenty of time. Please share.
Well, let's see. I suppose we're going into a little sidebar here. I'm a charter member, as you may be aware, of a now defunct organization called the Georgia Mafia. And the way the Georgia Mafia came to be was that when the AECT Atlanta 86 host committee leaders, the committee chairs, arrived in Las Vegas the year before that convention, I suppose that would be 85, we were there to come to attend the first convention program planning meeting and to get oriented and indoctrinated as to what our challenge was over the next year. And so President-elect Elaine Didier comes walking into the room, and she just simply proclaims, "Well, I see the Georgia Mafia is here, so the meeting can begin." So that name stuck. And of course, many people remember that the self-proclaimed leader of the Georgia Mafia was Jackie Hill. And Jackie served in that role to organize the group. And the group was a very loose-knit, unofficial, just group of friends and colleagues that would get together during annual AECT conventions. One of the evenings they would go out together at a Mexican restaurant. It was always a Mexican restaurant. I don't know why, but that's just the way it happened. And so there were many tales and many stories of those escapades. But the nice thing about the Georgia Mafia was anybody who wanted to participate was welcome. And Godmama Jackie Hill always made sure that she recognized milestones. She recognized students who had completed their doctorates and had a little induction ceremony into the mob, they called it. and recognize people for other major accomplishments. And so it was just a wonderful experience to get to know better professional friends in a more casual social setting.
That's funny that you should mention that, because Jay Harriman also has fond memories of the Georgia Mafia. That's great.
Yeah, one of my strongest memories of AECT was when I was serving as president-elect and president during that time. Our headquarters office was located in Washington, D.C., and our organization membership was dwindling. We had lost a great number of our K-12 practitioners to other organizations, and quite frankly, we weren't able to pay the rent. And we knew that we had to do something to relocate the office to a more practical setting for us. So the organization sent out requests for proposals to seek bids for locations that were interested in hosting our headquarters. And of course, these proposals went broadly to any AECT member that we knew of that might be interested. We got some very good proposals, but the two that seemed to resonate the best with our situation was Florida State University in the Tallahassee area, and also Bloomington, Indiana. And so over the Martin Luther King weekend that year, we went around and did a whirlwind tour of those locations to check it out. And Bloomington ultimately won. And the reason it did was because we were able to get into an office space there that was already furnished. It had the computer infrastructure, it had the telecommunications infrastructure, it had warehouse space. It was just like everything we needed. We could move in, and as long as we could pay the rent, we were welcome. So as it turns out, that I think has been a very good move for the association. We've certainly grown and thrived since that point, and I'm glad that even though that was a very painful time, very painful for a lot of us, and but we had to do something, and I'm glad that what we did has paid well.
Excellent. Thank you so very much.